Recording. First edition of 12 Beers podcast.
I'm so excited.
Cheers, buddy. How many beers do you
Cheers.
qualify with?
I never counted. I've never been a guy who
Okay.
counts.
Well, we're going to start counting. All right. To kick this thing off, we brought up a historical subject of Christ and how many times it's been transcribed, how the book of Isaiah itself is 100% represented. It is the same way it was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls as it was in the 15th century in the first Geneva Bible.
Yeah,
So-
that was really cool.
But then you brought up that you have a beef. What's the beef?
I think what started this whole conversation was, I forget his
Wes
name.
Huff.
Wes Huff
Yeah.
on the Joe Rogan podcast. I really appreciate that podcast.
Brilliant.
For me, Christianity, I've always believed in, well, Jesus Christ was a real person historically. No
Yeah.
one can really dispute that. And I always believed in the resurrection. And I'm like, okay, I'm cool with that.
So let me
I
pause you
can
right there.
see it.
It's like the biggest thing of Christianity is the resurrection, right? Everybody can get behind, he was a real guy. Facts outside of the Bible prove that Jesus Christ was real.
Yeah.
He was doing miracles.
Even if you want to be an atheist, he was
Right,
a real
even if
person.
yeah. And even if a completely secular view, people outside of the Bible in Jesus' century were talking about how he did miracles. And some of their arguments were, well, he grew up in Egypt and he could do crazy things.
Yeah.
Regardless, he was doing miracles.
Yeah, and that's
So-
what they brought up in that podcast.
Exactly. So then the biggest miracle of all, obviously, is
The
you died for 3 days and then you're resurrected. But you don't have a problem with the resurrection. Okay. So
I think to a core, like to me, Christianity's always been about what separates it from the other two monotheistic major religions, Muslims and Jewish, both of which acknowledge that Jesus was a real person,
Mhm.
whether they acknowledge him as a prophet or savior, whatever. They don't, obviously, right? But
And-
they
and-
both acknowledge.
Mhm.
And I think the point that makes you a Christian or makes you a person that believes in that religion is the resurrection. And I've always believed in the resurrection.
Mhm.
What I have a problem with, or what historically I had the problem with, is in the Middle Ages, people, especially a controlling power such as the church, and the church were the only people who could speak the Latin, which it was written in at the time.
Mhm.
It's been transcribed into so many different languages. And I think the problem that I've had was that there was something that the church at the time in the Middle Ages would add in there to further their own agenda, because they were like gods, like what's less than a god, but basically a god among men is a guy who
Sure.
is like, God's speaking to me.
Well, that's like
God's not speaking.
Xerxes.
Yeah, but God's not
Yeah.
speaking directly to you, and that's what I have a problem with.
Oh,
God's
that's a
speaking
great
to
point.
all of us.
As a person who's trying to be a Christian in today's world, the one thing that I was always taught was when you read the Bible, it's to you. And that's just patently false. The Bible is written to who it was written to at the time. Another great point that guy makes in the Joe Rogan podcast, Wes Huff, is you have to look at the scriptures as how it would be interpreted in the time that it was written. The way that you apply that to your life today is, okay, how did that message affect the people of those time? What perspective were they seeing? What lens were they seeing the world through at that time? How did it affect them? And what did they do that changed their lives? What are the actionable steps that they took to change their lives towards this? My question for you, though, is back to the crucifixion and the resurrection. Do you believe in, when you say that you don't have a problem with the resurrection, is that the physical death and resurrection of Christ? Is it a theoretical death and resurrection of Christ? What is it?
I think it's definitely a literal death and resurrection. I think what we've talked about before was my interpretation of why I believe God sent his one and only son. How I see it is that Jesus was sent here, like, I don't even know how to say this. It's meant as a sacrifice. right? For mankind, for our sins. We've sinned, we've done so much wrong, but God's like,
Here's the perfect lamb.
You don't have to you don't have to kill lambs and
Yeah,
bulls.
this is it. This is my lamb.
It was an offering for you. And as a new covenant, right? It's a sacrifice for us, but I also feel like it's like a handshake. Like God was like, hey, you've done some shit. I've done some shit. I'm not admitting wrong, but it's like we're square. We're even. Just believe in this guy, bro. He's your redemption. He's this. He's that. Like, let's let bygones be bygones.
Yes.
In like a dumb fucking sense. Like a human guy sense.
I got two things to say on that, dude. The first one, I'm going to bring it back a little bit. Last time you and I talked about this, it didn't end so well. You left my house. I have to say that I do owe you an apology because you were arguing that God made a mistake with everything that happened with man in the fall and creation and everything else, right? Now, I will say I don't concede to that point, but what I will say is I've been studying the Bible mostly in Genesis, Psalms, and the book of Matthew. Those are the three books I've really been studying. In Genesis, there is a part where God is looking at creation, and the Bible says that God regretted, he felt regret for creating mankind. So I'm not willing to say that God made a mistake, but I am willing to say that he looked at his creation and went, hey guys, what's going on? This isn't what I made you for.
Yeah.
And I regret doing this because you know what? Why he regrets it. To me, that's the big thing. Why would God regret it? Well, who is God, number one? That's the question you have to ask. God is personified as this immensely benevolent being. Why do I say that? Throughout his 6 days of creation, it always ends with, it is good, it is good, it is good, it is good. On the sixth day, creates mankind and he says, this is very good, right? So your aim is very good. Good will become very good if you keep that aim. Jordan Peterson talks about that. So, okay, who is God? He's benevolent, he's good, he's loving, and he's given everything to us. There's a part in the Bible right at the beginning where God assembles all of his creation before Adam, and Adam gets to name the things, and they stick with the name. Like whatever Adam gives them, okay, that's your name, and God's cool with that. So he why would he regret it? Well, number one, not only did I create this thing and I love it, I love this creation that I made so deeply that they can never understand. And number two, not only do I love them, but I gave them dominion over this entire earth of creation, which we don't even fully comprehend. I gave them control over all that, right? So it's kind of easy to sit in God's shoes. Like you created this thing to do this thing, which is to love you back. And it falls in love with the world that you created, which is now tainted because of sin. So that's the first point that I'd make is I do owe you an apology there, and I apologize. And there was a part where I feel like I could learn things. I don't know that God made a mistake. I know man made a mistake, but I do know that, it's because of God's love that he was like, hey, okay, I regret this now. It hurts me.
And I don't think that makes him imperfect.
Sure.
By, I think obviously I'm sure he regrets some parts, but that doesn't make him imperfect, I don't think. I would refrain from calling it a mistake. I would rather call it something like he has the power to redo, literally just wipe everybody off the earth. But he doesn't do that.
He doesn't do it
because of the love he has for us.
And because of the number one thing that he gave us is free will.
I just want to go back to the part we started talking about, which was Wes Huff on the Joe Rogan podcast. What I appreciate about him so much is that he's a theologian. He's a person that, came at the Bible, came at all these things.
Well, he's got his PhD in the Bible.
Yeah, well, with a little bit of skepticism.
100%, a lot of skepticism.
And he really studied it, and it made him more of a believer. I'm like, I love that. I love people who look at a history or subjects in an objective manner. You study it so much, you come to a conclusion, and then you become subjective.
Yes.
To me, that just furthers your point. Like,
100%.
you did the work. That's what I want. I want this whole world, as soon as you come into existence, you are objective. Then you become subjective through your own things.
So this goes back to the second point that I was trying to make. You brought up, like, God brought the perfect lamb, who is Christ, and said, hey, we're square now. We're evens. Everything's even. We're good now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's even more than that. If you look at, I believe it's 1 Corinthians 5:20. You can pull it up if you want to check it. Let's just see if you can pull it up, because I don't want to misquote it. 1 Corinth 5:20.
We need a Jamie, dude. I thought
We didn't, Jimmy, pull that shit up. You gotta train Isaiah.
I guess 5:20.
Yeah. Okay. Pull that up. Okay. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, 2 Corinthians 5:20. Okay. Can you pull up the whole thing? Read full chapter.
Okay.
Starting at 20. Okay, scroll down to 5:20. Keep scrolling down. All right. So 5:20 says, we are therefore Christ's ambassadors, as though God were making his appeal through us. We imply you on Christ's behalf, be reconciled to God. God made him who had no sin to be sin for us, so that in him we might know the righteousness of God. If you go back in this verse, therefore, if anyone is in Christ, a new creation has come, the old is gone, the new is here. All this is from God, who reconciled us to himself through Christ and gave us a ministry of reconciliation. This is the reason why I bring this up. The Greek word for reconciliation, I don't know it off the top of my head, but it directly translates to a divine reconciliation of favor. So not only is God saying, hey, we're even, we're square now. He's saying, hey, we're even, we're square, but you are now blessed and favored in my sight because you're my son now. Like, he doesn't just go, we're square. He goes, we're square, but now you're blessed because now you're one of mine.
He goes even further.
He goes even further.
Right.
And what is that?
It's not as simple as like,
we're square, we're even, dap me up. It's like, we're even now, but now you're a part of my glory.
Yeah.
Like, you get a piece of heaven. You get a piece of all this. Okay, so what is that? That's grace, like a gift that we do not deserve. Because what we do deserve is hell as a society. But not only does God say, hey, you're not going to go to hell, like, we're square, we'll figure it out. No. He goes, hey, you're saved. You're fine. You won. You're going to heaven. Now live the rest of your life with me. You know what I mean? Now give everything up to me.
Yeah.
What is that? That's grace. That's a gift from God. You know?
It is. Yeah. I like how you broke it down even further. It's not as simple as somebody like me who is seeing things from not so much the outside, but not somebody who's dove that deep into it. Growing up, you always get the message.
It's so tough as a kid.
I feel like when you're in church, all you get is a certain interpretation, but nobody goes into the depth of it. Oh, what I love about, like, again, going back to the podcast, it's like these guys are like breaking it down from a real worldview and making it digestible, not only, but they're also being like, hey, this shit's real, bro. Like, it ain't all fairy dust.
Nope.
And goddamn magic aliens.
Right.
This ain't David
And
Connolly.
we're not just writing this down to write it down.
Yeah,
Like,
this ain't Chris Angel. This was
guy.
like,
guy.
and
Real people.
just a message people are trying to control. At the core of it, Jesus is love. Jesus is the representation of a sacrifice. And by your point, like a grace that was delivered to us, delivering us something that we don't deserve.
Exactly.
But we need.
And if I can expand on one more thing on that note, Christ himself references the coming of the kingdom of heaven over 100 times throughout the 4 gospels in the Bible. Okay. So if you were to reread the 4 gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, through the lens of the kingdom of God is coming, what does that mean? And this is a new concept that I've like wrestled with in the past couple months as a person who's trying to be a Christian, of like, what does that really mean? It's kind of a crazy thought, man, because what Christ is getting at is like, you have to go back to creation. Okay. You have to go back to Genesis 1 verse 1. God created the heavens and the earth. Why did he create all this? Well, he created it for us. He says that he created it for us and to glorify him, to walk with him and be in this relationship with him while we live in this world. Right. Okay. Then you have sin and then everything else happens, yada, yada, yada. fast forward, we're at Jesus' time, and Jesus is saying, hey guys, the kingdom of God is coming. What does that mean? What I've been reading, what I've been studying, what this is saying is when Christ himself is saying, hey, the kingdom of God is here, what he's saying is, guys, everything has been reconciled, right? Reconciliation.
Yeah.
Your sins are forgiven. You guys are more than forgiven. You guys are blessed and favored in the name of God because you are now a son of the Father, whatever that really means. And, you know, what he's getting at is through all of this, I totally lost my train of thought. We were talking about, what the fuck were we just talking about? What was the main point?
Yeah, the Gospels, reconciliation.
Reconciliation. I can't believe I
No, and
just-
I feel like I understand, like, you know, the point you're trying to drive home. I just, to me, like, naturally, I've always, like, questioned things. You know, like, I've always.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to cut you off. What I was getting at is Christ is saying the kingdom of the kingdom has come. It's here, meaning that we're not only reconciled to Christ.
Kingdom of come.
The kingdom has come. We're reconciled. Okay.
Yeah.
So what that means is we are back in a position where God wants us to be with him in relation as he was with Adam in the Garden of Eden. Okay. So where there's no more sin, there's no more distance between us because that sin, that distance that spaces us out from God is now forgiven. So we're with God. Okay. When Christ says the kingdom has come, what he is saying is the time is now, guys. Now that I've forgiven your sins, everything's fine. Now is your time to live in creation the way that creation was meant to be made. Okay, what does that mean? Well, it means that God, Christ, because God came as Christ to show us how to live our lives, is at the center of our aim. And whatever we do in life, you know, you work on the mines, I work in real estate, whatever that is, we have to go with the why. Why am I doing this? Well, my why is, I want to help people, but
your purpose.
But my purpose should be to like bring them to Christ or help them in some sort of godly manner, right?
Yeah.
So that's what Christ means when the kingdom has come. It's here right now. Is you guys don't have to do anything else. You know what I mean? You just have to accept my sacrifice that I gave you, and then just live your life, but live it for God because that's what God originally intended. You know what I mean? So that's what he's really driving home in the New Testament is like, I'm not saying we can make heaven on earth, but man, can we try? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, and I feel like whether you're religious or not, dude, like so many people, and it's the most noblest thing is like you strive for perfection, knowing you will never get to perfection. And I always tell you about this too.
Christian belief, by the way.
Yeah. Well, and that's, I feel like that's another thing that adds to the whole Christian kind of ideal set. It's like striving for perfection, knowing you'll never get there.
Never hit it.
But also like this general message of love, man. And it's not just a hippie thing anymore. Okay?
Right.
You know, it's not just like, oh, fucking love everybody, but I hate black people.
That's okay. That's forgiven.
Yeah, we should have for a long time here in America.
Yeah.
And we're not sorry.
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, no. Yeah, you guys think Abraham Lincoln's a good fucking guy, dude? He wanted to send all the black people back to Africa.
He really did. He really did. If he had a choice, he wouldn't have freed slaves. He said that several times.
Yeah, exactly. He fucking had to, okay? It was a breaking point, okay?
So you got to get the deal done. You got to get the deal done. You got to get it across the finish line. Hey guys, we got to free all the blacks. Man. Man, you got to work.
And the Mexicans?
Yeah. I don't think they were in the picture yet.
Yeah, no, dude. We'll like leave them down.
But you know what? In hindsight, we should have never enslaved the blacks. We should have enslaved just Mexicans. We would have got this country built in half the amount of time.
They would have worked harder.
Fuck, dude, it would have been insane.
They would have worked harder.
Man,
Jesus
way harder.
Christ.
And they would have never ran away. They love working.
Exactly. We would have flying cars by now.
Yeah.
If that was our
easy, dude, we had flying cars in the 70s, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd be on Mars right now.
Exactly, dude. If Mexicans were building all the infrastructure for us,
Could you imagine?
Jesus.
Could you imagine looking at like the fucking the inspection report after they built the pyramids though? And you're like, guys, this is not to code at all. You better hope the government doesn't come back and pull a fucking permit on this place.
Yeah. It's like, who fucking cares?
Yeah, you can't just clap the bricks in place, guys. Can we get some grout on these fucking things?
Yeah, all the white people are down there by the pyramids. They're like, this isn't
Javier,
this isn't
come here.
lining up with
Yeah.
the star, okay?
Right.
How- you
Right.
know, people 1,000 years from now
Dude.
are going to understand
Okay.
why it's pointing to the star.
That's a whole other crazy thing, which I would love to talk to you about. Well, not just the pyramids, but like dating back to this is where the Bible gets really weird. And this is where I always say, like, if the Bible was written by a group of people just to gain power and make everybody believe and give everybody hope, and it's just like the pill, it's the what do they say? The pill for the masses, right? They wouldn't put stuff like this in the Bible. The Bible would be very like, hey, there is no hell. Everything's easy. Just follow us and we're good to go. You know what I mean? But the Bible talks about, what do they call Nephilim. The Bible talks about Nephilim and different angels and all these kind of things, right? And like starting out in the book of Genesis.
When the Nephilim like fucking giant or
So look,
giants, right?
well, there's several different theories, dude. And I went down a ultimate rabbit hole the other day because I was reading Genesis. I think it's Genesis 5 or 6. Where it talks about all this stuff, but it talks about it very briefly. And then the book of Enoch really talks about,
I love to read that.
okay, so I'm glad that you feel that way.
I've only seen it in YouTube videos.
Okay, so I'm stoked that you feel that way because I was always the same for so long. And I actually bought the book of Thomas. I think it's the book of Thomas. I may be wrong. But it's one of them. It's another one of those quote unquote biblical text that was pushed out of the biblical canon.
Yeah,
right?
You can see why it was pushed.
Well, and that's why I want to bring it up is because like
Enoch, dude.
well,
is like,
Enoch you can and can't because Enoch, and this is what they talk about in that podcast, which originally brought this whole thing up. The book of Enoch is the great grandfather of Noah. Okay, so that's before the flood. So we're talking like 4,000 years ago. Okay,
they lived for fucking
and they lived forever. So that's besides the point. So let's just say let's just say the book of Enoch was written like in biblical history, Noah's great grandfather. Okay, the text that we have of the book of Enoch do not date back that long, not even close. Okay, so that's the first problem with the book of Enoch. The second problem with the book of Enoch is it's very obvious that some portions of the book of Enoch may have been written by Enoch. Everybody agrees on that. Some of them may have been. But what everybody accepts is that the book of Enoch entirely is written by several different authors throughout thousands of years, adding to the general message they're trying to get, right?
And they can't decipher.
And they can't decipher it. They can't decipher it. Exactly. But what I will tell you is
that discredits it, and you can't put that into a book of religion.
No, you can't.
Be like, hey, our religion's like
and what
legit.
What you especially can't do is go.
And people can pick that apart.
Yeah. Easily. And what you especially can't do is go,
yeah, that makes
this
sense.
book that was supposed to be written 4,000 years ago is rearing its head in like 1500 AC. Like it just doesn't add up.
Yeah.
However, I will say from my own readings, dude, the book of Genesis quotes the original book of Enoch. It quotes it almost verbatim. And when you read them side by side, book of Genesis 5 through 6, where he's talking about the Nephilim, and you read the book of Enoch where he's talking about the Nephilim, it's like, it's the same voice, the same spirit, right? And
that might be the problem, though, is that there's like some truths in the book of Enoch.
Well, that was the whole thing, right?
You can't, like, as a dude, especially like if you're 1,000 years removed from when that was written. How can you fucking tell what was added?
And the theory is like they've kept the story coming down Because number one, it's expensive to write back then. Most people are illiterate, all that kind of stuff.
Dude. You can't.
So it's passed down word of mouth.
Paper.
Well, and everybody, like I said, everybody argues that at least a portion was written by the original Enoch before the flood, which is nuts.
That's insane.
And the portion that they're talking about, at least from what I've read, is the portions that match up with the book of Genesis where it's talking about the Nephilim. Okay, so who are the Nephilim? I'll give you a couple of examples. So a very common thing that I've heard all of my life
They're the Jews.
is this the Jews.
They ruined the fucking road.
No, it's that there were fallen angels from heaven.
Yeah.
And they saw that man was making daughters, and man's daughters were beautiful. And the fallen angels came down and made love to them and had offspring with them.
Crossbreeding, yeah.
But
What's giants, right?
They made giants. But what's interesting about that is the book of Genesis says, referring to the Nephilim, they were giants, right? But he's saying they were like the men of old, the men of renown, the men of old. That's what the book of Genesis says. Abraham. Moses is writing this about Abraham. That's where Moses wrote the book of Genesis. But yeah, he did. But he's saying, he's making a point that these giants, these like half creature Nephilim things were here before the angels started making love to man, right? So it's a very, very interesting thing where you have like these Nephilim, and in most translations it says, it not only says the men of renown, it says the great heroes of past, the men of renown, the men of old. And it's referring to people like, what's his name? Gilgamesh, a great conqueror of the earth. He was a giant human, like tons and tons of power, right? So you have this.
Wait, she wasn't like Noah? Shit.
Who?
I don't even know. Like, the only thing I've heard of Gilgamesh was like, I kind of assume he was like Noah, because every fucking, he wasn't like that. Like he
Well, he may have been, dude. He may have been, and that's where the big thing comes into of like Noah living. I think he lived like 987 or something like that.
Because everyone has those traditions of flood stories. Like,
oh, that's common. That's common through every civilization amongst man. Yeah. Like that for sure happened. We know the flood happened, and you know what, dude? Like you and I think are in the perfect place for us, like people who are just trying to discover Christianity and decipher what happened on the earth. Nevada, northern Nevada. Dude, go drive through northern Nevada and view it with the perspective of this was like the floor bed of the ocean. Oh my gosh, dude. It makes so much sense. Same with Utah, but like you look at our mountains here, Winnemucca Mountain, you can see the water corrosion off the mountains that was receding quickly. You see it all over. It looks like a floor bed of the ocean that's dried out.
And there's only one fucking river that comes through here.
Yeah, there's no water here. There's no water. So where did all this obvious water corrosion come from?
Well, and they call this the Great Basin for a reason. It's it's a giant sink. Mm-hmm. The Humboldt River that runs through the town that we're in right now.
Yeah.
It doesn't run to the sea.
Right.
It's literally just it's the Great fucking Basin.
It's a great basin.
Fucking sink. Nowhere else in the world does a river always runs to the fucking sea, or a river runs into a giant river that runs into the ocean.
And it's so ironic because it's like we don't live in the most beautiful place in the world, but I wish everybody could see the landscape of where we live, because you look at northern Nevada, dude, and you go, this was totally an ocean floor at one point. Yeah. Like, there's no way it wasn't. It matches everything to the T.
I mean, if you pay attention to the fucking letter marks.
Right. All over Winnemucca Mountain, dude. Yeah. Like right here in our backyard.
You could see where the letter
freaks.
But you can also, if you go down to Lovelock, dude, there's fucking letter marks.
Right.
And I live I work rather in a mountain range, and I look down to the valley. There's giant fucking ladder marks all over the mountains. It's like, obviously it was a sea.
Obviously. It's so obvious. It was a sea. Grand Canyon, like the Grand Canyon. all of that shit, dude. Like everything. Literally everything points to, and every ancient civilization story points to, hey guys, there was a great flood.
Mhm.
And they warned us all. What's it called? Ancient Civilizations, I think, was the documentary on Netflix. But every civilization warns against a great flood. Like, this is coming again.
There definitely
And dude,
was a giant flood.
that is what is so beautiful again about the Bible is this may have happened several times. We have no way of telling, right? In the Bible, we have one story of Noah where the flood happened. But all these civilizations, even predating Noah, warn of a flood. But God in the story of Noah says, hey guys, I'm never going to do this again. I'm never going to do it again. And it hasn't happened since. How do we know that it hasn't happened since?
He said it was a fire next time, right? Like,
No, he didn't clarify. He just said, I'm going to put my bow in the sky, a covenant that I'm making to my people that I will never flood the earth again. That's what he says.
yeah, well, water is cleansing. I mean,
It's totally, well, that's how you cleanse the earth for sure.
but
But
fire, it ends in fire, and it like I like the symbolism behind that too.
Yeah.
Like God could have just totally thrown a fucking asteroid at the
oh,
earth.
100%.
But that's not cleansing. Even if you leave
No, it's
Noah
not.
and
Right.
it's not cleansing. And all
Right.
the animals, like in the fucking children's stories, it's not cleansing.
Right.
It's death. It's burning. Yeah. I mean, I know new life grows from that, but like water is like on its face is just natural.
Well, how
cleansing,
are we
wash
baptized?
yourself.
You
Yeah.
know? How are we baptized?
Yeah, born again,
Right.
baptized, right? You like get in a shower.
Right.
You're fucking clean, right?
And what's so interesting to me, man, is like, and I still don't, I'm just saying this to say this because I don't have my head wrapped around it. Is like, you go from God saying that he regrets creating mankind. Okay, then he finds Noah, who's like the only righteous person in this crazy world, spares him, and then goes, I'm never going to do it again because of your sake, because of you. And then you see that again to Abraham, because there's a story where Abraham and Lot is his nephew. Lot's living. So there's a part in the Bible where Abraham is very rich, right? And Lot's very rich. And
Wait, after God speaks to him, Abraham's
Yeah,
rich?
yes, oh yes, yeah. Abraham was very
Started
rich,
his own fucking colony, right?
100%, dude. He had a whole army. He had a whole
Right.
army. So there's a part where Abraham and Lot are kind of talking, and they're like, "Hey, we're kind of too big for each other." And Abraham tells Lot, "Separate yourself from me." So Lot separates himself from him, going towards Sodom and Gomorrah, and Lot ends up right outside the gates of Sodom or Gomorrah. I don't know which one, but he ends up right outside the gates, right? So,
Bad ending to
bad ending. So God appears to Noah about 30 years after he first appeared to Noah Abraham. God appears to Abraham about 30 years after he originally appeared to Abraham and told him that you're going to be my seed. I'm going to have your offsprings are going to be as numerous as the stars, right? Keep in mind, his wife is still barren at this time. So he has no offspring. But, he tells Lot, separate from me. Lot separates from him. And God comes to Abraham in a vision. And God's telling Abraham, hey, I'm going to go and burn down Sodom and Gomorrah. And Abraham's like, my freaking nephew's right there.
Yeah.
So he's like, I'm in the presence of God. I know I am. Tell me to shut up if I need to shut up. But if you find 20 men that are righteous, will you spare the land? And God says, yes. And then he keeps going back. Abraham keeps going back to God. If you find 10 people, if you find 5 people, and God says, yes, I will spare them. Okay. So fast forward, God, I believe in the version of Jesus Christ and the angels, comes down to Sodom and Gomorrah, where Lot is living with his 2 daughters and his wife. And the angels come into town, and the angels knock on Lot's door, and he enters and he lets them come into the house. And all the people saw the angels, and all the men and women want to have sex with the angels because they're so beautiful. That's what the Bible says. The men and the women want to have sex with the angels because they're so beautiful. So everybody's banging on the door, and Lot's like, get away. And the angels are telling Lot, God with them, saying, we need to get out. We need to get out. That goes on until morning. And then God literally grabs him by the hand and drags Lot out of Sodom and Gomorrah because Lot's unwilling to go. And as he's dragging Lot and his daughters out of Sodom and Gomorrah, he tells them, don't look back. And what does his wife do? His wife looks back,
Turns
turns into the pillar star, but he knows that story, right?
Yeah.
But what's so beautiful about that is Lot isn't the best version, like the person we need to look up to in Christianity at all, because he's not obeying God. If you look through the scriptures of Genesis, every time God says to do something to Abraham, Abraham does it.
Well, Lot,
and he's
Lot
blessed.
was a weird piece of shit, dude. Like in the Bible, then his fucking daughters take him into the caves and
Yeah, but
procreate with him?
that's a whole different thing. That's a whole different thing, and it's really not his fault because I just read
They
this.
got him drunk, right?
Right, and it says, it clearly states that he didn't know that his daughters came in and laid with him.
Oh, that's
It says it twice. So it happened 2 nights in a row. They get him drunk. The daughters plan to get their dad drunk. They get him drunk because they say no man is going to take us. We're in our elderly age.
well,
And at this point, Kyle, they're way outside of Sodom and Gomorrah. They're like out in the wilderness now because God saved them. And they're like, they're like, who's going to give us offspring? We got to freaking make sure our dad has offspring. So the older daughter gets
offspring.
right. So they plan to get him drunk. The older daughter goes and sleeps with him first. The next night they get him hammered again. The younger daughter goes and gets him drunk and sleeps with him.
Oh yeah.
So that's a whole different thing. But the point that I'm trying to make is that it's the same thing with Noah in this wicked generation where God says, "You are the only righteous one. I will spare all of humanity because of you."
Yeah.
Okay?
You're the right one, dude.
Right.
Nobody
And
else.
fast forward to Abraham. Every time God gives Abraham a commandment, Abraham does it, dude. When God promised Abraham, "I will give you offspring as numerous as the stars,"
Yeah.
that doesn't happen till like
Well,
tens
he
of
had
years
2
later.
wives, didn't he?
Well, he didn't. He took two. He only took another wife after Sarah died. He did sleep
Well,
with Sarah's servant. He
he
slept with
laid-
Sarah's servant who has Ishmael. Right.
Yeah, and he was a fucking dude who like
He created Islam.
eventually, yeah.
Well, Ishmael
Islam,
eventually creates Islam. You're right.
and
well,
that was like 3 separate bloodlines, right? One Christianity, one Judaism.
Muslim. Well, we'll get into that. Just real quick though. God is looking at Abraham, right? Who does everything literally to the T that the Lord has said. Again, when God promised Abraham offspring, the first thing that Abraham does is he doesn't wait for the offspring to come. He goes and builds an altar to God and thanks him for the offspring that are coming. The offspring don't come till like, I want to say 60 years later, 70 years later. I could be wrong on that, but definitely a big number. With Lot and Abraham though, dude, God is sparing Lot, not because Lot is a great freaking guy. Like he's not listening to the word of God. He's
Just
pulling him out of
Abraham.
his house.
Yeah.
He's doing it because Abraham is the only righteous one.
Yeah.
And because of this guy, I will spare all of you. Okay, where else do we see that in the Bible?
Like someone trying to fucking save a guy that doesn't deserve saving.
Yes. Can I give you a hint?
Shit.
Died on a cross. Jesus Christ.
Well, who
Because-
was trying to
because-
save besides him? Like,
Well,
obviously he wasn't trying to save himself. But
Who?
okay, okay.
Here's what
so
I'm saying
I think
is-
I know what you're saying. Like,
Right.
he's like, when he was on the cross, he said, "Forgive them, for they know not what they do." Right?
And God saves everybody because this one man who is my son is righteous, just like Abraham and Lot. I'm only saving Lot because Abraham is the righteous one in this
okay.
area. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he saves him. And that's our father. That's our lineage, right? Back
Yeah.
to Abraham. We all kind of date back to Abraham
Yeah.
in some way or another.
Yeah. Like, okay, I see what you're saying.
So it's like you have the father of the quote unquote, father of Christianity, Abraham, saving
All
people.
3 of them, dude.
Yeah, saving him just because he's so freaking reliant to God. God's saving his family. And then you look at Christ, where he's the only truly righteous person without sin in this generation. And God saves not only that generation, but the entire world after him.
Yeah.
Like Christ is represented all throughout the Old Testament, not New Testament,
Yeah.
Old Testament. He's there. He's living in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's nuts.
I think his message too, the Old Testament as well. You could draw so many like
Parallels and
just did.
well, there's 69,000 cross references in the Bible.
I gotta fucking pee, dude.
Okay, go pee.
So fucking hard.
Beer break.
Beer break.
Their beer too.
Or get you.
Look. No. What am I supposed to talk about? So I'm dropping a new album next month. This is a pee break. This pee break is sponsored by Battleborn Fitness, where I go to the gym here in Winnemucca, Nevada. I work hard. I get after it. If you want to see me getting after it in the gym, go and sign up. I think it's like $40 a month, something like that, but it's a sick ass gym. So if you're here in one of the small population of 7,000 of Winnemucca, go fucking hit it, and I'll see you there, bitch. Kyle, I'm doing advertisements. Who's the name of your company here in town I should shout out? What are you ordering? What are you ordering, Henika? Silver Peak is another great restaurant here in Nevada. We're currently doing a deal. If you see me in there with the nice Mexican woman who owns the place, she'll give you a discount. I can't guarantee what it is because this is the first show, but maybe one day they'll sponsor us and give you a discount.
What do you want from there?
No.
I want a steak Sammy.
Steak Sam?
This podcast, 12 Beers
I got this.
Podcast, is brought to you.
12 Beers Podcast.
Is brought to you by
What do you buy?
Big J's concentration camps. Are your kids having trouble at school? They can't concentrate? You want to give them Adderall or fucking Ritalin? Don't do that. Send them to Big J's concentration camp. It's free for 5 days. Yes, I would like buffalo wings. I would. We would like to thank Big J's concentration camps, where we teach anti-Jewish rhetoric there, okay? Here's the thing, dude. I've heard a lot of things in the, Jews are, they got taken over the world. Definitely they have, okay? Don't think for a second, dude. Just kidding. No, dude, Jews are cool. Jews are fucking awesome, bro. The whole thing is like Jewish people have been our written history for so long. Like at some point we gotta be like, yeah, Jews have taken over the world.
You had a Coors in there, buddy?
No, just without.
Do you have any Coors in this house?
Yeah. In
How's
the
the fridge?
in
Do you want one?
fridge. Yeah, I'll take one. No, dude. Jews are written history. Okay, there's a reason they control Hollywood. Okay, it's because they're better at it than us. Okay, I know the fucking skinheads out there aren't gonna want to recognize. There's a reason Jews fucking run the world. Okay, because they're better at it. Okay, just like
Yeah.
white men versus minorities. Okay. There's a reason, okay? Like, Jesus Christ. Like, seriously, stop fucking, like, we're inadequate. Oh, we need equality. You don't need equality or equity, okay? Just do a better fucking job,
Yep.
okay?
Agreed.
All right?
Yeah, agreed, dude.
Jesus. Motherfuck, dude. I swear to God, you know what? Like, when I envision this podcast, I'm like, man, we'll just bring up, like, a fucking, like, our favorite news of the
Okay.
time, you know?
Well,
Like-
let's switch gears here because it's not all about Jesus. We love
No,
Jesus.
it is in the end.
I love Jesus.
You know,
Um,
I feel like that message brings us,
it's the core foundation. It was right.
It
was
makes
right
us
to
better
have.
men,
Yeah.
and at the core of this country, I think the message is love first of all. Also, like you were saying, like trying to achieve perfection,
Yeah.
knowing you will never get there.
Well,
and
and-
that is a noble pursuit.
And that's exactly what Christ says. Jesus Christ himself says, you guys should be perfect like I am perfect. Knowing well that
You
we
will
can't
always
be.
fall short.
Right. And that's why we have a savior in
Yep.
Jesus Christ. Because
Yep.
we're always going to fall short. Right. However, when you embody this persona, when you're trying to live Christ in the civilization of 2025, this is where revelation of the Bible kicks in. The veil will be removed, and you start to see of all the Satanism in 2025 of our world. Music industry, movie industry, every single thing left and right is sick. It's twisted. We're
I feel
cutting
like you
kids'
could-
dicks off.
You could see it.
You can see it like it's clear as day.
I think it's so funny is because, like, to your point, like, I feel like you can get away with it for like a movie or two. Like, I see Disney doing this shit. Like, Disney can like put like
Mickey Mouse is a pedophile.
he's public domain now too.
That mouse
okay?
is a fucking pedophile.
That-
He's going down the Epstein list.
It's 100 years old. Mickey Mouse is public domain.
Yeah.
Right now. Okay. So, but anyway, I feel like these people can like put like subvert themes to what you consume, and either you notice it or you don't notice it, whatever.
Project Mockingbird.
It's like 5 seconds of the fucking movie, right?
Right.
But then when they start making like this fucking weird like tranny shit,
yeah.
like
Or
you
like
know, they make
Buzz
it trans-
Lightyear's a Mexican dude with like a fucking like a clean fade.
no fucking way. That's not the Buzz Lightyear.
Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
No, dude, but like they're not even like trying to like insert it in any more like 5-second little clips, whatever.
Well,
It's in your
whatever.
face. I'm just gonna fucking mute that point when my kids watch it. No, it's like the whole fucking thing
Whole
is now.
thing.
Is that yeah? And what I love about this country is like, no, we're not gonna watch that. You know what? If we want to explain homosexuality to our kids, we will do that. Okay, I
Yeah.
don't need Disney. I don't need kindergarten teachers
Yeah.
to fucking explain.
Because how's Disney
A
gonna explain
faggot.
what a homosexual is? You know?
Yeah, no, it's
Like he's a fucking unicorn and he's beautiful and he shits rainbows out of his
Yeah.
ass and he's like the best guy in the world. He's a super nice guy. So everybody should be nice to this guy. Now, do I give a shit if you're gay, dude? No. I don't care. Do whatever the hell you want to do, just keep me out of it. However, I don't want society teaching my little boy to be a homo. I want kids. I want grandkids out of that kid. You know what I'm saying?
And I feel like all the people that might hear this, it's like you're like, oh, you know, no one's gonna fucking like, try to convince your kid he's homosexual. Like either he is or
Bullshit.
he isn't. He's
That's
born that
bullshit.
way.
That's bullshit.
Well, it is bullshit because like I seen so many kids. Like I graduated in 2015 in a small town, Winnemucca, Nevada, and there were kids. There was a specific guy that I'm thinking about who like was like, I'm gay, I'm this, and like he posted a bunch of obscene shit on his Facebook.
Okay.
Like I refrain from going into too much detail.
You
but,
should
like,
we should be refrain from going into dudes.
well, it's fucking important because like it drives home my point. It's like this dude was sharing shit on his Facebook
Yeah.
about how like, oh man, the first time having fucking anal, like your
Ugh.
butt bleeds. I'm like, dude,
Dude.
bro.
Lost.
And now I swear to God, this kid is straight as a fucking arrow.
Disgusting. He was
And-
lost.
Well, yeah, like it's this whole thing where it's like you need to be obscenely gay to be part of this group. And
Yeah.
he wanted to be part of this group. I knew this kid's background. He wanted to be fucking part of this like protected group, right? Where he gets special privileges. He doesn't have to answer to anybody, you know? And white privilege has washed away. God damn it. I wish we could go back to those days. Well, and he feels like he needs to be part of this special gay group, so he masks himself in this
So-
gayness. And well, and then when he grows up to be a fucking adult where none of that shit matters, it's like, okay, I'm just a
Yeah.
straight regular fucking guy and I'm okay with it.
Who's really like, and if you're like, I'm not even gonna go there. Let me ask you this: you seem like you know this guy fairly well.
I went to school
What
with
was his background? Was it like
single parentage dad.
okay?
So I was like a smelly kid, never took a lot of showers.
Sure. My kid would never take showers.
You know what? And like seeing him in school, he was like always a super sensitive guy. Like cry about the dumbest fucking shit.
So immediately you like right off the bat, you see trauma of like, there's not a mom in
Yeah.
the house.
Yeah. And and you see that single dad shit, you're like, okay, this is a guy who's been raised by a dude who's like, fucking stop being a pussy,
Sorry.
stop talking about your feelings.
Yeah.
And like he steers opposite to that because he has a negative
Sure.
response to too much masculinity.
Yeah.
And I think that is a problem.
Well, and the whole thing is a problem
is.
because like,
Because your child,
yeah,
your dad now,
yeah,
you want your child to have a good exposure to your wife, which is feminine,
yeah.
right? You want your kid
Well, we
to
we live a very balanced life.
be empathetic.
Right.
You want any
I can
kid,
be the asshole because she gets to
Yeah.
be the heartfelt, I'm here for you kind of thing.
and I love balance.
Oh, it's
dude.
perfect. That's what everybody needs.
I want every kid to feel that they need that soft caring.
Yeah.
I love you. Oh, you're such an angel. And then
Yeah.
your dad or whoever is like, you're a
Stop
piece
it,
of
fucking
shit.
retard. No.
I'm gonna put you through a fucking wall.
Yeah. Well, dude, it's like, what's sad about that, in my opinion, is like, the kid obviously missed a major part of his childhood, which is your mother, which honestly every boy kind of needs as a mother because that's how you properly respect and treat women.
Yep.
And you kind of need that outlet. Like
Mhm.
if me and Isaiah were on our own and Claudia wasn't here, shit, dude, he would never shower. You know what I mean? It'd be so much harder. And I couldn't give him the love that he needed. I give him the fatherly love, but to be honest, like it's kind of tough love. You know, if you're doing your job right, I think as a father is like you toe the line of like, I'll let you do what you want to do, but I can't let you do that. And if you continue to do that, you're gonna get your ass whooped.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like if you have only that and you don't have the your dad's being a dick, come over here. You know what I mean? Like how your mom was. Like
It's super weird because I feel like every fucking boy that I've seen not have a father is
Yeah.
overly aggressive,
yeah.
overly fucking
Compensating.
prison.
Yeah.
you know,
they
start fires.
compensate masculinity.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I had a cousin just like that, like fucking no male role model, just a
Yeah.
woman.
Yeah.
Super fucking shitty on him, but just overly aggressive, overly fucking just wants to hurt everything.
Yeah.
And on the flip side, like, the friend that I'm talking about is like, he didn't have that femininity, so he steers exactly opposite.
Opposite. Yeah.
Was like, I'm gay. No, you're not.
So what's
fucking
crazy
gay,
about that,
bro.
dude, is like my nephew, Zane. You've met Zane.
I'm not saying that's 100%.
Well, no, but I think what it is, dude, is like
That's a general.
I think it's a 50-50 flip.
Yeah.
I think what the odds are when you're raised in a like a quote unquote toxic household, whatever.
But you're in worse odds, dude. You're in worse
You're
odds.
totally in worse
to
odds to begin
end
with.
up
To begin
way
with,
worse.
100%. Like that's a given.
Yeah.
But I think like the 50-50 flip comes down to like, okay, you're either going to be just like your dad, or you're going to be the exact opposite of your dad. And for Zane, as an example, like drug addiction, not a good guy, wasn't there for them as kids. He's done with his dad. And you know what? He's not that like hyper aggressive person. He's like the opposite side of it. He's kind of soft. You know, like he's a softer, very nice kid, like very, very sweet kid. Who you would want your kid to be honest with you.
Intelligent.
Very
kid.
intelligent, like his
Very
dealt with the
mellow.
shit, very mellow, like
How old is he? It's like 13,
15.
14?
He's 15.
I think when I first met him, he was like 13.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
And he was like prepubescent. You can
Yeah.
tell he was.
Now he's like,
Hey, my name is Zane. I love that kid because he reminds me like so much of how I was. I was like just like into football, and that's all.
that's all he cares about. That's all he cares about.
I don't give
And
a
it's like,
fuck about bitches, dude.
yeah.
I don't give a fuck about
Dude,
nothing.
he's breaking up
but
with his
the
girlfriend.
sex.
He's breaking up with his girlfriend because he's like, I just want friends and family in football. I'm like, all right, dude, do your fucking thing. But it's like, dude.
That's a dog.
Yeah, it's a dog.
That's my guy.
That's a dog. But you know what, dude? Like, that's the beauty. If there's any beauty of like being raised in a shit home, is you get the opportunity to look at who your parents are and what the shit they drug you through. And it's on you to make the fucking difference. Like,
Mhm.
fuck white privilege and everything else. This is America. That's the beauty of America. Is like, yeah, you were dealt a shit hand, 100%, dude. What are you going to do about it? Are you going to fall into the same trap that your father did? Or are you going to man the fuck up and
Yeah.
take responsibility?
Yeah,
You know?
exactly.
And that's what we need.
It's examples.
Yeah.
And I feel like I mean, knowing your family, but not like being there through everything. It's totally different. But what I see from the outside is that Zane, your nephew, has a lot of positive role models,
Mm.
and that's what you need. I mean, you know, like what I've seen from Brittany, she's a very positive female role model.
Yeah.
You know,
Been through hell.
yeah,
Brought it back.
and she's bettered herself.
Yeah.
You know, and she's you know, that's a positive female role model.
Yeah.
But like your dad, Jake, and you,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, like whoever else, like yeah, I don't even want to speak for that kid, because I'm sure he would come up with a list of guys who are like, yeah, I looked up to him, he said something to me one
Right.
time, my coach, my teacher, whatever.
Well,
dude.
I don't mean to be narcissistic in any sort of way, but like, I look at my father, for example, and I can compare him.
Pythons for arms, dude. This guy's fucking ripped.
Ripped. He'll kill you, dude. He'll fucking kill
He
you by
scares
looking
the
at you in the eyes.
shit out of me, dude.
He scares the shit out of me too. But he's like I can look at that guy and see Abraham in him. You know what I mean? Like he was dealt a shit hand. His father left. He's
Great
like,
patriarch.
yeah, he's 14 years old. He's got his mom and he's got a little sister. You know what he does? I'm going to work on the oil fields. I'm going to support the family. And that's what he did. And he's never stopped supporting his own family when it comes to his kids and his grandkids. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think my father is a great example of what men need today. Is like, yeah, the guy was raised in a shithole. He didn't have a father himself, but he took responsibility and fucking made himself the man that he always needed.
It's America.
And then you trickle it down to Zane, right? Where he didn't have a father, he didn't have the person he's needed. Well, look at the patriarch of the family. He didn't have that either, but look at it. He's the fucking patriarch of patriarchs.
Yep.
He's got his family together. He takes care of everybody. He's always focused on everybody. And you know what Zane did? His last name, because his father was Martinez, he wants to drop that and make his last name Taylor. Like, that's a powerful thing, dude. You know what it is?
Yeah.
Strong fucking patriarchs. Don't stand up to the bullshit. Don't let your kids go down this fucking rabbit hole. If you're raised in a shithole household, that's your plight, man. I don't know what to tell you. You know what you can do? You can do fucking better. You know? And it doesn't matter where you're at. Like, start from where you're at, dude, and be better, and you'll fucking trend down that path. How long? If you do that for 10 years, what does that yield in your life? And then to your kids see that same thing. What does that yield? Like, it's exponential.
Yep.
Talk about AI growth. It's the same thing with humanity, dude. If humanity sees a strong father through generations and they raise their kids in the same aspect, that generation will yield beauty.
It's the future of all of our generations.
Take Trump's kids, bro. Trump is a great example. Like, billions and billions of dollars. Billions and billions. Millions and millions. Look at his fucking kids, dude.
2-0 versus women.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. Trump,
Thank God.
2024, baby.
2028.
Yeah. 20 fucking
32, dude.
2180, dude. But you know what, dude? Like, that, his kids raised spoiled, you'd think. Like, they have it all. Probably gonna be pieces of shit. No, exactly the opposite. Solid fucking kids, solid individuals, understand the plight of men. Like, not everybody has it this way. You're very fortunate.
But there was a mantra, dude.
Mm-hmm.
It's like not even like, hey, my dad's famous.
Yeah.
The last name, you know, and like Donald Trump is
Huge.
fucking
Genius
in
Yeah.
marketing.
Perfect
name.
The best marketer in the world, hands down.
I feel like that
hands down, best marketer in the world.
like fucking just that was his point, was to make that Donald Trump. Yeah.
Trump, just Trump.
A brand.
Trump. From 1984. Since 1984.
Yeah. And that was his brand.
Yeah.
But like the way he taught his kids, he had mantras. He had like a fucking crest. And that's
Like, don't you want your kids to be that, dude? Like,
I want a family crest so bad. It's because it's words to live by.
yeah,
And his words to his children, his grandchildren, he still says it to this day. There's no alcohol, no drugs,
yeah.
right?
And Don Jr. drinks and shit, but you
Right.
know what?
But it
It sticks with him to a point. You know?
point is
Yeah.
to keep a clear, level-minded head.
Yeah.
Like, don't be distracted by worldly temptations. And I know, Kyle,
It's a biblical.
this fucking podcast is called 12 Beers. And
Yeah.
you're
Yeah,
fucking
Jesus.
wrapped up. You're halfway to 12 beers, Kyle.
Yeah.
You're a fucking hypocrite.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. Here's the thing. It's a mantra. It's
Yeah, dude.
words to live by.
Yeah.
And more so or less, it's you don't even have to have words. I feel like your father and my father, I know especially, was not a fucking rah-rah good speaker. Okay? He had a hard time with words, telling me how to fucking fix problems, be a man, right? But kids kids look, and they know what's going on, dude.
Mhm.
I saw my father from a very young age. My dad could not fucking, tell me what's up. He showed me what's up. He fucking showed me, like, I'm gonna go to work every day. I'm gonna fucking,
It's the action.
you are gonna have everything you ever wanted. I don't call that white privilege. I hate the word white privilege because I see my father and my mother work every fucking day, dude. Fucking just doing shit that they might like or they might not, being great at it. Just fucking,
That's the
it's like,
whole problem with the white.
man, but
privilege argument.
imagine your fucking family crosses love, respect, honor, and every fucking day, little Zaya or whatever little kid is looking at you, knowing that you're honoring those words every fucking day, building a better fucking future, man. And that just carries so much more weight to that last fucking name, dude. It's so much fucking power.
Yeah.
It
It's
gets me
funny that you
jacked
say
up,
that,
bro.
dude.
It gets me jacked up.
I've been looking into that a bit. So
And that's why not you. I looked up. I was talking about Helica, and then I saw your wife. She was peeking in the door.
I
Hey,
need to take
here's
a
our
look at
first spot. Our first interview.
come here, babe.
Say something.
Do we need to take the baby home?
This is our Jamie.
He's sleeping. I just have to. No.
Well, that's gay.
Not gonna add it. You're the Jamie.
So that's just crazy, dude. Like looking at family crest. So there's I've been looking at the Crusaders. I've got a Crusader cross. It's like a perfect, just like up and down, like a horizontal and vertical line. And then there's crosses in between the four squares. And the saying with the Crusaders was Coram Dios, I think, something along those lines. But it means like
Pete Hegseth has that tattoo.
who does? Yeah, he does. Yeah, that tattoo.
Just
Yeah.
listening to this, yeah.
That tattoo.
I know what you're talking about.
So it means in the presence of God. Like,
Mm.
dude, I couldn't think of a better family crest. Like, whatever you do, know that you're doing it in the presence of God. And whatever you feel good about in the presence of God is probably good.
Yeah.
And whatever you feel wrong about in the presence of God is probably wrong. So you probably shouldn't do those things. Like, that's the family crest that I want the Taylor family to live off of, is in the presence of God. Because you know what?
You should
We're always in the presence of God.
You should do it.
Yeah.
You know what? Your kids, until they're fucking 14 or 6, maybe even like to our age, they will think it's fucking corny, dude.
Yeah.
But
Go ahead.
I swear to God.
One day.
As long
yeah.
as you live by it.
Yeah.
As long as you set the example.
That's the biggest thing. Right.
You know?
Right.
Fucking
Well,
one
dude,
day,
and it's like,
Isaiah's gonna be here and he's gonna be like, my God, I can't wait to give, first of all, the woman that you love, marry her and give her that name. Explain to her what that name means, because it means a lot to you. and that's why I fought with Helica so much about taking my name. I'm like, you ain't gonna be no hype.
Gotta take it. Gotta take it.
It ain't about
Yeah.
just my pride.
Yeah.
It's about like my father set a great example for me. He gave me that last name. He was there every single
Yep.
fucking day, loved me, and set the example. And that's what I want to do.
And
Like, you're
fuck,
gonna
man.
take this name knowing that it means the fucking world to me.
Right. And like, I'm not afraid to sound sexist, but
Fuck bitches, bro.
like one big thing is like the world needs fathers. And the world needs
100%.
fatherhood because we're the ones that control shit. We're the ones that hold shit down. We're the ones that you have to face when you fuck up, and I get to tell you what you get to do now that you fucked up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, and that's not even just like patriarchal. And I know like people hear that shit and like, oh, this patriarchy, you want the patriarchy. No, it's a
It's
fact that
matriarchal, if
No,
anything.
bro, like this is like everybody has a mom. Like
Yeah.
if you
And who
give
do you respect
everybody-
the most? Like, who do you protect
Yeah.
the most in the world is the mothers.
but fathers like can leave,
Yeah.
you know? Like
Yeah.
how many people are like, I don't know my mother? Maybe 3%, 2%. How many people don't know their fathers? It's like
Tons.
fucking
Depending on what
50.
demographic you're talking about.
It's exactly. I think the point is that everybody needs both parents,
Yes.
right? But
Yep.
the fact that we're living in society is that most people don't have the father, and I think that's
Well, yeah,
That's what
100%. And I
is
would
so
argue the
important.
most, like, now more than ever do children, men and women children need fathers. And not just fathers based on a foundation. Something that's strong. That is like not of their own volition, dude. Because like I can tell you in my life, man, I've not lived it right. And if I could give my kid anything and I didn't have God and I just said, hey son, here's how you live your life, I wouldn't have much to give to him because I don't know what the right way is. You know what I mean? But I know that when I follow these ancient, let me highlight that, ancient rules, 4,000 years old, and I live my life
Yeah.
to that value, I live a better life. And I see the fruits of my labor and I feel better and I feel happy. And my wife lives by it. And, you know, my wife lives by it. And most women today go, oh, it's submissive. Yeah, my wife submits, but she's happy. Like, she takes care of the house. She doesn't have to work. She gets to be around her kids 24/7.
Yep.
That's a huge blessing, you know? And it's like, man, if you're a father and you're out there, discipline your kid, for one. Discipline him in the ways of the Lord, and he will be prosperous. Like, it's that simple. It's that simple.
And not because you're angry, not
No.
because you're taking out frustration. It's because it's the right thing.
It's the right thing to do. If you don't discipline your kids,
it should hurt you.
oh man, it hurts. It sucks.
But
It sucks to
also,
discipline your kids.
You know that you're building a better life. You're building a better generation on you. Like when you're dead in the grave, like you corrected your kid, you know, or you corrected the next generation in
Yeah.
whatever way, you know, they might see it as fucking hurtful.
So this is probably
you're
too personal.
building better.
Yeah, it's probably too personal to share, but I have one major request from God in my lifetime, and it's that a wealthy and righteous generation comes from my lineage. And I have to be the beginning of that, and I have to be much better than I am in order to accomplish that. But man, if that intent, and it's like, kid, what is righteous? Well, righteous is based on this book, and my kids are going to be taught this book as history. It's like, man, I want them to be steadfast in that. And it's like, what does that book teach them? Well, it teaches them to, this is one thing that I've learned a ton in the past, like 10 days of reading. If I grow more fear of God, then I become more fearless of the world. That's how I want my kids to be. If I fear this thing and that thing gives me everything, God gives me everything, that's my provision, what do I have to fear? Like, I don't care about anything else. Like, I'll be the weird kid who's like, don't do that because Jesus says not to. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'll do that. and watch what happens from the fruit of the loins. You'll know whether it's good by its fruit, is what God said, right? I want my kids to produce good fruit. I want to produce good fruit, and it starts with us. It's like, man, my family is full of sin. My family is full of generational curses of adultery and fucking gambling and hedonism and alcoholism, like you name it, man. You know, like
Yeah.
you talk about white privilege. My father started out at ground zero. I'm starting out at ground one, I would say. You know what I mean? Like you gave us a little bit of foundation. My father was also in my ears, like an 18-year-old, like, hey, go on a cruise ship and go fuck a bunch of women and like enjoy your life, have fun, do what I couldn't do. I'll never teach my kids that. You know, like I want my kids to be taught, like, hold on as long as you can, dude. Like, save it for your wife. I know it sounds weird, but like, sex is good, dude, but it's like, it'll kill you too.
Yeah, one, and it's hard to teach anybody that sort of perspective. Like, you can't teach people perspective. You know, like
Well, our perspective is
I mean,
destroyed in a secular
yeah,
world.
but like, I mean, let's start with the flat earthers, bro. Like, you can't teach them perspective. Like, if I'm a fucking astronaut trying to convince you, right, that the earth is round, you're like, no, dude, all I fucking see is flat,
Yeah.
dude. I could see it's flat, dude.
Yeah.
I don't see any curves.
I live in Winnemucca, bro. It's flat.
Yeah, well, that's like an extreme fucking example,
Yeah.
but it's like true,
Yeah.
right?
It is
Like,
true. It
it's
is
like,
true.
if
It's flat as far as the eye can see.
Yeah, exactly. If there were no
Yeah.
fucking videos or pictures
Yeah.
of the world being round, right? And like, just say I'm a fucking guy that goes up there, dude. And I'm like, it's fucking round, dude. But like everybody in Columbus's age is like, no, it's flat, dude. I can fucking see it.
Yeah.
You can't. It's hard to fucking teach anybody perspective. Perspective you only get you go through the experience. And like, I feel like teaching kids, especially, it's so fucking difficult being not so far removed from being a child myself and a teenager.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I struggle to be like, what you do, everything you're doing is wrong.
Yeah.
It's more coming from the perspective as like, I just like, please, like, I know what you're fucking feeling. I know your urges. I'm not going to tell you not to do it, but at the same time, like,
Fight it.
I mean, just realize that this isn't fulfilling.
Yeah.
This isn't the end.
Well, one thing I've noticed, dude, with having kids is like, it's 100% on the parents to define the perspective in which to see the world. Like, you see kids that are raised by an iPad and raised by, what's that stupid show? Cocomelon. Like, you see kids raised by that, and they have attention deficit disorder and all this kind of shit, and they really don't have a perspective because their perspective is secular. And if your perspective is based off secular things, and there is no hard line in the sand anywhere, especially in today's society, you can decide what gender you are, apparently. So, in my opinion, you can't. In my opinion, it's totally up to the parents to define what the child's perspective is, you know? And I mean, I'll see how it goes. I'll be the test run, but the one perspective that we're trying to raise our kid in is, hey, John 3:16, God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son so that the world would be saved. Like, that's it. So live your life for him, live your life how he would want you to live your life, and I guarantee you could be prosperous. Any other way you live your life, I can't guarantee you an outcome. That's the truth, you know. And like, even if it's not riches, that's one thing I've struggled with too. Is like, I'm a materialistic person. I want to make a lot of money. That's the truth of it. But God doesn't care how much money I make.
No.
God cares about how well I do for his kingdom.
Yeah.
And I want my kids to do the same. And if that's our intention, well, God's our provider. You know, not once. Jesus says you can buy a sparrow for 1 penny. You can buy 2 sparrows for 1 penny, but aren't you worth way more than a sparrow, than many sparrows? Of course we are. So we'll be taken care of. Whatever you get will be enough if you live in that mindset. You know what I mean? whatever you have is enough for the time being. That's how I want my kids to live. I don't want them to be sidetracked by all this. It's just bullshit. And the problem with secular quote unquote religion, which is like LGBTQ and Black Lives Matter and all this bullshit today,
Yeah.
it could change.
Ideologies
Yeah.
that morph into religion.
Well, that's the biggest thing. It morphs. It could change tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, and that's the most interesting thing is like people could say death, like they're not fucking religious. They're not fucking, but like, it's like, okay, you set yourself to an ideology and then you, put up or, fucking amplify or elevate a fucking prophet.
False prophet.
nonetheless.
False prophet.
And whoever the fuck it is
Yeah.
Joe Biden this year.
Yeah, right.
In 2028, who the fuck is it going to be, dude? Beto O'Rourke.
You know who it is?
Fucking,
George Floyd. George Floyd
exactly.
is a perfect example of a false prophet.
Those are their martyrs.
Right.
Those people are,
Right.
I mean, Barack Obama might as well fucking be the goddamn, fucking Jesus Christ or God in these people's eyes, is because the moment you don't recognize a God, subconsciously, you are going to try and find a God
Because you need it.
because you have these ideologies, right? And then you are going to promote whoever you think is worthy to being the all good, the all powerful,
Right.
the perfect.
Well, mankind needs something to cling on that's higher
Of
than.
course, and these people aren't going to realize it.
Right.
I mean, I
Well,
guarantee.
to make the world like through a moralistic realm of like, okay, white people are racist. Everything white people do is inherently wrong. So
That's not-
who's my God? Well, Barack Obama's fighting against this. He's a the first black president. He's coming out with all this big shit. That's my God. Like I could totally see that. And look what's happened. Like ever since Barack Obama's presidency, the world has gotten way fucking worse. The country has gotten way worse, way more quote unquote racist. I don't believe that's true, but the amount of racism in the narrative has spiked unbelievably. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I totally agree with that. Like, find your God. You know what, dude? If you don't have a God, you're going to find one. You're going to fill that hole.
Yep.
Whether it's transgenderism, like you think you're going to be free by cutting off your tits and becoming a man, or, racism. I'm a victim because I'm black, and my God is now the highest black person I can cling on to. Like, it's just not
It's wrong.
right. It's wrong. You're wrong.
It's wrong.
Yeah, it's just man.
I feel like anytime you follow an imperfect being and project them as God, you are obviously gonna fucking lead down a path where, I mean, like I like it that you're trying to you're aiming for a perfect society, a utopia, right? But when you follow an imperfect thing, which is mankind, and a part of mankind,
Yeah. Which is
you are
what utopia is
obviously gonna
based off.
lead to destruction,
Right.
awfulness,
Right.
which inherently are traits of mankind.
So,
Throughout history, you're not special
no.
because you have fucking AI, because
Yeah.
you have Google. You're not fucking special and perfect.
Yeah.
You're not all-knowing.
Yeah.
All you know is what man knows.
Yeah. And that's the problem with it, dude, is like, man changes at the drop of a hat. We've seen that in our civilization. Like in the past 10 years. If you went back 20 years and you said to a middle-aged man, hey, dude, kids are going to be cutting their dicks off because they want to become women, he'd be like, whatever. You know? Fast forward. Yeah, exactly. Fast forward just a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Oh, it's welcome. Actually, we're paying for it in our tax dollars. Like, it's unreal, dude.
But it's
unreal.
It's getting fucking like
Well, it's coming around. And this was a point. Who's that Indian guy that's got a podcast?
PBD, dude.
Yeah, PBD, Patrick Bet-David. He had Wes Huff on. One thing that I love that Patrick Bet-David said was, a lot of weird people are going to become Christian in the next year. Dude, is that the case? Man, is that the case? Like listening to Joe Rogan take on that podcast, Joe Rogan himself was like, whoa, I've never thought about it in terms of like, how are the people of this day viewing this document, which is how you're supposed to see it, and how does it reflect? Because 2024, like even in 2000, we're so far removed from that society.
Yeah.
Our society is so much different, and it's so much worse.
Well, it's gonna get harder and harder to convince people of this thing because we live in a society that's like in the 1800s, you weren't very far removed from fucking biblical times,
Yeah, that's true.
like,
Definitely a
but
lot closer than we are today.
yeah, dude,
Yeah.
I I've talked about this with friends before that like think about the internet and the computer. The computer allows you to access the internet, right? And the internet is the collection of mankind's knowledge. This fucking self-identifying, just like we're above every other fucking animal on this planet, right? We're the kings of this, existence, right? There's nothing above us in the physical realm, right? So we collect all that knowledge that we've known for thousands of years, put it in one resource, which is the internet. And ever since the fucking internet's been a thing, the computer's been a fucking thing, you have less and less believers because we prop ourselves up to, we know everything that there is to be known. So
Hubris.
why do we need God?
Yeah.
Right?
That's the first sin. Man's hubris.
Yeah.
And hubris of the devil, like
But
AI, in my opinion, is the apex of man's hubris. Like
yeah.
we don't need anything else. We created everything. We got this God that's eventually going to come up out of this, which you could foresee. Like we could literally foresee right
Yeah.
now, looking at AI and be like,
Because
20 years from now, this
yeah.
thing's going to be like a God. It'll tell us how to live our lives.
How the fuck
Well, dude, that's
so crazy.
that's original sin.
So
Satan
crazy.
Satan was cast out of heaven because of his hubris. He said, "I'll be a better God than God," and he was
Yep.
cast out.
Yeah.
Hubris, pride,
Yeah.
pride,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what's going to kill us. Like look how, and that's what's so important. Which I gotta say, I had beef with the other day, and I was reading it. It's the Tower of Babel, where man builds this thing, and God's like, man can do anything they want to do. If they come together, they can do anything they want to do. There's nothing under the sun that they can't do. So I'm going to distort their language so they can't do that thing. And at first, it's like, why would God not want us to be the highest people that we could be? Like, why are you angry about that? I personally believe that it's a warning against tyranny. But it goes back to like, God is warning us of our own hubris. Like, honestly, dude, the worst thing that could ever happen to you as a human is being the smartest person on earth. Like, I definitely don't have any jealousy over somebody like Elon Musk, who's like a million times smarter than me, because man, will that lead you to your downfall. If you trust in your own knowledge and you're so smart, that's what the devil wants. You're so smart. There's no way God can control you. Look how smart you are. You understand everything. You understand physics and rockets, and you can send them to space and all this kind of shit. Never would I want that. Never. Because it's so easy to go, I don't fucking need anything, dude. I'm the smartest person on earth. And where does that lead you to? Sure, it leads you to hell.
That's obviously the destruction. And I feel like to the point where we've been making this whole fucking hour and a half is that we're an imperfect people, recognizing that we're imperfect, always reaching for perfection,
Yeah.
knowing we're not gonna
Never.
make it.
Never.
And I feel like that's where the truly smart people come in, like Elon Musk is like, I'm the smartest man in the world, but you know what? There's a bunch of shit I just don't fucking know.
I don't know.
And let's fucking try and find out. And if
Yeah.
I die in that pursuit, what a noble way to die, man. And also, like, I don't know his fucking personal beliefs. Man, I would, dude, just a fucking breakdown of your ego, knowing that you're the smartest man in the fucking world. You've oh my God, what Elon Musk has done. It's fucking,
Okay,
it
100%.
is the fucking path to Star Trek, dude. He's trying to
Yeah.
make Star Trek a fucking reality.
Well, and to be
He is
honest,
the
like,
smartest man in the world.
even
Sorry.
aside from that, he has had a major play in restoring free speech in American society, which is insane.
Yeah.
Like, single-handedly, I'm going to go into debt and buy a non-profitable company just to save free speech. Man,
Dude,
do you deserve our gratitude?
look at the fucking
Do you
record.
deserve our gratitude?
Boring company, dude.
Yeah,
Fucking-
right.
The Boring Company, they couldn't fucking figure out how to build
Yep.
tunnels and shit, and like he bought a fucking,
Check this out.
machine and
Yeah,
made it fucking better, engineered the fuck out of it. Boom. Okay, SpaceX, right? Like we had so much trouble with our space program, governmentally funded, because we couldn't reuse
because it's the
the
government.
boosters.
It's the government doing the work.
It was the boosters, dude. It
Yeah.
was the boosters. So he figured out the fucking boosters,
Yeah.
right? So we could reuse them. Have you ever seen the Falcon?
Yeah, oh my goodness.
You ever seen that fucking video? It's fucking unbelievable.
Insane. And that highlights to me, like, from the rocket ship.
Starlink too.
Yeah, right.
Tesla.
It highlights, dude, like,
Open sourced all the patents to Tesla. All those fucking all those patents that he had, he open sourced them, and now every electric vehicle on the market looks like a fucking Tesla, dude.
yeah, it's true.
Better
Well,
than
then, and then, like, you look at it and you go, like, from sending rockets in space to getting a letter in the mail, the government fucking sucks at its job. Like, across the board,
fucking blows.
it does bad. You know who does better? The private sector. I'll give you an example. Amazon. Shit, you could have that thing here tomorrow.
Yep.
Space, well, Elon Musk will launch the booster into space and land it back.
Yep.
Literally, land it back. It's insane.
There's a financial incentive.
Well, yeah, he has all the risk. He has all the risk, right? Which is capitalism.
Yeah.
Capitalism says,
yeah.
you take on the risk, but you get to reap the reward of the risk. If
Yep.
it is successful. If it's not, you eat the risk.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Yep.
I'm going to send this fucker into space. If it blows up, I owe probably $1 billion. You know?
Yeah. How many fucking years has NASA been?
Oh,
waiting?
man. And how
60.
useless has NASA been over the past 20 years?
60 years.
Yeah.
NASA couldn't fucking figure out the
No.
fucking booster.
NASA fucking
which
sucks,
cost us
dude.
as taxpayers so much money.
Yeah, NASA's probably the biggest scam of the past 100 years, I would say.
Elon
Like, dude,
Musk figured that in like
I'm sorry.
20 years.
let's-
One guy.
Let's forget about the moon landing. Let's not even talk about that. Let's talk about the CBS videos in the 1960s of people apparently being in space. Obviously forgery. Like, there's gravity. Obviously. The guy's obviously suspended in air by a fucking chain fall or something. You know what I mean? It's bullshit. NASA hasn't done a single fucking thing since the quote-unquote moon landing, if it happened. Okay, what have you guys been doing since then? Nothing. Like, literally just wasting our fucking money. Putting marbles into rats' asses to see if they get boners to the tune of $20 million.
Hey.
You know?
Okay, we need
It's a lucky rat.
we need to know if
You're telling me
rats
that
can
rat
get
got
boners.
shit shoved up his butt and made $20 million?
Okay. No, we could get a fucking creepy dude from the yellow pages to figure out if we can get boners
Yeah.
by shoving shit up
Dude,
our
I'll
ass.
give me
Right.
$100. I'll sit down and tell you exactly what gives me a boner.
Put a marble up my ass.
Yeah. Give me a boner.
Give me a few
Feel
billion,
weird.
dude. I'm retired, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, give me $20 million.
I'll fucking
I'll
tell
tell you what I do.
Everybody,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Nuts.
No, it's what it's just fucking what's one of the 7 deadly sins?
Pride.
Yeah, it's pride, but it's gluttony.
Gluttony.
I always come back to gluttony. Everything I see in our country, it always leads me back to gluttony.
Yeah.
It leads me back to we have so much.
Yeah.
It's too much.
And we're ungrateful.
When that leads me back in a weird way to what you were talking about was the shoving fucking marbles up rats' asses. And I promise I'm gonna bring this one.
That's
home.
real, by the way. Look it up.
No, I don't doubt it.
Everybody look it up.
But it brings me back to the fucking gluttony thing. It's like, man, we're just like so fucking bored. Like, there's fucking cancer out there. There's fucking herpes, dude. I had herpes
None of that,
once. Never again.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
Shut the fuck up.
Leprosy is still out there.
Exactly, dude. There's so many fucking things out there, right?
Yeah.
That we could actually put scientific knowledge and money towards fixing. We're not gonna. For other separate reasons.
Yeah.
You know, it's a whole nother can of worms.
Which is what? You
and
know?
we have regressed. We have so much money
Yeah.
and so much fucking time on our hands
Yeah.
that we're spending tax fucking money, taxpayer funded research on shoving marbles
Yeah.
up the ass of
And
gluttony. It's gluttony. We have too much,
yeah.
obviously, that we're not even fucking doing anything yet.
We're not doing anything.
We're not even doing what we
No,
should.
not at all.
And that's gluttony.
Not
dude.
at all. Totally.
It is because if
Dude,
you
if you're gonna
wanna-
spend $10 million, you got $10 million to spare. If somebody came up to me and said, "Hey Kai, I'm gonna give you $10 million. What do you want to do?" I would come up with the most fucking thought out plan that's realistic to make them a profit. You give the government, you go, "Hey, United States government, you guys got an extra $10 million. What do you do?" Well, what we want to do is to see if we can spin a cat in a chair and see if it gets dizzy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, that's what we literally just spent $10 million on, to see if cats get dizzy if we spin them. What the
Right.
fuck are we training for?
Bored. That's what that
Bored.
sounds like.
Well, it's Nazi Germany. It's like you have so much at your fingertips. This is man, dude. This is the problem with man. Fulfilling the role of being in a god position, like you were talking about earlier, right? Like you're a god king. It's like the god kings of the past, right? Shit, man. If you're the president of the United States, you're kind of a god king. You are the most powerful person in the world, hands down. Okay. So now it's all on you how you want your country, who is the richest country in the world, how to spend their money. What do you want to spend the money on?
Yeah, like
What is this? What is this administration spend their money on? Like, fuck, dude. I don't know.
making fucking lesbians fire
Well, we
chiefs
gave probably
and burning down
40%.
LA.
We probably gave 40. Yeah. We probably gave 40% to fucking
Fire chief.
Ukraine. So half of it's gone to Ukraine. 10%, 20% is gone to lesbians being pissed.
Anybody but
Anybody who signs up who's not white and straight and Christian, you can have our money.
What?
Why?
It's so frustrating.
It's
dude.
it's satanic, dude.
It's so fucking frustrating. It's because like
It's just, man, it's just so against the principles that brought us the civilization to begin
yeah,
with. You know?
it's-
Like, we're
yeah.
all rooted on Christianity, whether you believe in Christianity or not. If you're a devout atheist, I don't give a shit. You live your life based on Christian values because that's the values that have been instilled in this generation, or excuse me, in this
Well,
society for 200 years.
That is what built.
That's what built the
every
West.
Great
Right. It
nation
built the
in
West.
The modern world.
Exactly.
The modern world.
Exactly.
Before in the Greek, the Roman
Yeah.
times,
Yeah.
pagan rituals
Yep.
only built one nation that was great in the fucking world. Ever since
And
then,
what did that religion,
there
what did that nation do?
been-
It converted to Christianity,
exactly.
you know? And then look at what that yielded, but that's a whole different conversation. You fast forward to today,
Modern civilization.
Yeah.
That's what it fucking yielded. Dude.
everything though that our politicians and leaders today are basing things on is in exact opposition to what our foundation is. You know? Exact opposition.
They're trying to build the party, and whoever the head of the party is gets to be God for 8 years.
Satan.
Oh, it's fucking true, dude.
It's literally satanic.
They fucking chisel down
Yeah.
modern religion,
Yeah.
and guess
What-
what? The Democratic Liberal Party
Yeah.
is the religion. You have your prophets,
Oh my
AOC,
goodness.
Bernie
100%.
Sanders,
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton, whoever the fuck it is.
Transgenderism. You have
And-
idols. You have so many
Yeah.
idols.
Well,
Yeah.
and then Joe Biden gets to be God for 4 years.
Right. And he
Because
did
we
a
elected
shit job at it.
We elected God for 4 years, and you can. it's such a fucking just like heathen pagan sort of fucking
Oh, it's complete
just things
paganism.
to pray to.
Yeah.
You know, you're
Well, and like
fucking
look
joking
at the
yourself.
way that we sit up like athletes is a great example, and like celebrities, and like, you know, all these people, we set them on high, and we're
Yeah.
like, this is the person of the time. This is the greatest actor. This is the greatest Patrick Mahomes. All these fucking people,
And
and it's
that's
like,
exactly why those people get canceled.
yeah,
Those people get canceled because Michael Jordan was
Yeah.
a great example of this. Michael Jordan was the best fucking athlete of all time, dude.
Yeah.
Did shit we never could imagine. But once we realized he was gambling
yeah.
and
Oh,
his
you
dad
sinned?
died,
Once we realized you sinned?
yeah, then, oh my
Crucify
God,
him,
dude.
Crucify him.
The reason it was such a big story is because, like, in a lot of people's eyes, they propped him up to be bigger than life, basically God. That's the definition of bigger than life, right?
Yeah.
And the moment they found an imperfection
Crucify
with
him.
him,
Crucify him. Dude, it's
Yeah.
like, it's so funny
Exactly.
because like this ties back everything that you and I have just talked about. We talked about how different the civilization was with Christ. It's really not that much different. Like at the end of the day, we hang up these false idols, and as soon as they sin, we crucify them. And the people who are crucifying them are a generation that are completely wicked, that have no idea what good and what wrong is. Now more than ever do we need Jesus. Like, now more than ever, just like they did back then, in the same religion where the Roman society is like super gay and, you know, doing all this weird shit,
really
pagan-ass
concerned
religions,
with gender.
and like you have, I think it was their last 4 or 5 kings were gay, and it's like, you go down this path of feminizing men, man, the whole world history points at you and goes, you guys need Jesus because men need to be men, and women need to be women, just of the way the Lord created them. And these are the laws, guys. 10 simple laws to live your life by. Do your best. If up, hey, you got a savior.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But live your life.
Be redeemed.
Yeah, live your life to be as that savior did. That's what we're called to do.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what generation we're in, nothing has changed since Christ walked the earth.
Yeah, there's general basic fucking like guidelines and like general basic ways that mankind
Yeah.
operates.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit what the fuck we do in the next 100,000 years,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
We're gonna be the same.
Dude.
At our fucking roots. We need to realize it because I guarantee, dude, fucking the people who are God-fearing, you know, they live their life by that creed, are every time Michael Jordan fucks up or fucking Tom Brady like takes a shit and doesn't wipe his ass, the fuck. I feel like those are the people that are the most understanding because they realize, because they look within themselves. Like, I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
Like, if I was LeBron James, dude, like,
Oh, dude, he has so much pressure.
you know what? Like, I've done some imperfect things that I'm really not proud of.
Yeah.
And if it was on blast
Oh,
for the
man.
whole world to see, I'd be like, yeah, dude, like,
Well,
I get it. Like, we're the most understanding because people who are God-fearing understand that we're not all perfect. And the people that point out these flaws don't look at themselves first off. And the people who get outraged are like, they don't look at themselves. They're like, what? Wait, no, that's God.
Mm.
That's the problem.
Mhm.
That's the reason they point out those fucking imperfections is
Mhm.
because, like, wait, no, Michael Jordan is God. What? Why is him imperfect?
Right.
Like,
I gotta
they're
say,
not
dude,
looking at themselves anymore.
like, if you're an atheist, be an atheist. But I dare you to live your life the way that Christ did and see what happens to your life. Like, make the change. Even if you're an atheist already, so you're going to die, and it's going to be the same as it was before you were born, in your opinion. So what do you lose? Like, I guarantee you, if you live your life in the way that Christ told you to live your life, it's going to be great. Like, I guarantee you can have a good life. You're going to have a fulfilling life, for
Yeah.
sure. Like, you know mine and Claudia's life. Like, we don't have much to our name, but man, are we happy. Like, I'm a rich person in my point of view. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
because we're living out the way that we're supposed to be called. And dude, man, if anybody were to do anything, try to live your life that way and just see what happens. What do you have to lose, man? If you're a believer, you should be trying to aim for that anyways. If you're who's your guide? You know? Is it LeBron? Is it Tom Brady? Is it fucking Shane Gillis? Like, who is it?
Biden,
Yeah.
who
Joe
the fuck
Biden?
is
Like,
it?
who is it that's so high above you to where you can't even touch them, or else you feel like I'm in the presence of something holy? No, you guys don't know anything like that. Like,
Yeah.
give it a shot. See how it goes.
Yeah.
Live your life. See how America changed. Do it for America. Don't do it for yourself. You selfish piece of shit.
We'll do it for the people after you. I just feel like people don't want to recognize that hard truth that, you know, that people have a problem with it because, oh, there's some magician in the sky that controls everything. And
Old man in the sky. I gotta say too, man. Like,
yeah, like it's okay. Let's break down what you think, okay?
yeah,
There was a snap, a fucking random
nothing
reaction
turned into everything.
that created everything.
Yeah,
By definition, nothing creating everything is a contradiction.
it's a logical fallacy.
You can't make sense of it. The smartest people in the world can't make sense of
Dude,
it.
what's that comedian's name that has a whole skit on this?
Everybody has a creation story,
Yeah,
okay? Like, let's get beyond the fucking fact that you believe this and I believe that. Whatever, fine. Okay, let's fast forward. Who do you have?
what are the core
look to.
values? What are the core values?
Exactly. What do you have to look to set the example?
Yeah,
Because you didn't just come out of the fucking womb knowing what's right and wrong, right?
Yeah.
Someone had to fucking teach you that. Someone had to show you that. Okay.
and where did they learn it from?
Exactly.
Yeah,
And then
and it just goes down
where-
and down and down.
Exactly. It's like it all fucking leads back to religion, and I don't consider myself a part of religion.
Me
I
either.
consider myself spiritual.
Yeah.
I consider myself believing in things such as Jesus Christ's death and resurrection. Okay? And I do pick things that I can apply to my life out of Christianity, and I leave the rest. Like things like love, respect, honor, integrity, telling the truth, being a good fucking person, okay? Those are the things I want to fucking take, make my life better, okay? And like, if you don't have that, if you don't subscribe to literally any of that, you're a godless heathen who finds fucking meaning in what?
Yeah.
In what?
In what?
You are
Yeah.
just self-absorbed and you just find meaning in what? Like literally what?
I gotta say real quick, dude, I've said a lot of things. I am completely imperfect. I do not do the right thing most of the time. I am wrong. I need Jesus. What do you got?
Just got
What'd you guys order?
oh bro, she
Oh,
tempting us.
So to end this, unfortunately, we have to end this just the way that Michelle Obama and Oprah ended their interview. Be better. Be better.
Whatever the fuck that means.
Be better. No, dude, man the fuck up.
Man the fuck up, dude. Man up.
Man up.
And remember, love yourself.
And drink 12 beers.
Yep. And just get fucking wasted with your boys, dude. Just have a good time. About to fucking eat. I don't have a full beer, but cheers. Oh my God, 12
Cheers
beers.
to the first 12 beers podcast.
Let's go, dude.
Thank you for
Fucking
listening.
Hell yeah.
Signing off.
And we're signing off. Have a good time. And remember to love yourself. Thank you.
Pussy.
Unless you like pussy, dude.